Alright, so a few days ago we got the season finale for season 4 of The Flash, titled We Are the Flash, and it was fine, I guess. I mean, the way Team Flash finally beat DeVoe was unsatisfying and felt extremely lazy, but at least the episode neatly wrapped up this season's main story, while also setting up some interesting plot points to explore when the show returns for season 5 later this fall. Speaking of, we finally got confirmation on who the mystery girl is. Yeah, remember that weird girl that popped up every so often, scribbling those weird Speed Force symbols and bothering everybody on Team Flash, except for Iris for some reason? Well, it turns out she's actually Nora West Allen, Barry and Iris's daughter from 30 years in the future.
I'm your daughter, Nora, from the future.
Wait a second, Barry and Iris's daughter? You mean like what most people were guessing from the get-go? Then what was with all that stuff about how nobody's been able to figure out who she is? So wait, is she like this season's Savitar? For fuck's sake, what a mystery, am I right? Regardless, she pops up at the very end of the episode saying that she made some kind of a big mistake.
And I think I made a big mistake.
How interesting. I wonder what all she did. Well, a lot of people seem to think that this is her referring to how she traveled back in time and helped Barry earlier in the episode. See, after Team Flash beat DeVoe in such a hard-fought, climactic battle worthy of a season-long antagonist, we see that DeVoe's last act of revenge was sending the Starlab satellite crashing down toward Central City to cause as much destruction as he possibly could. In an effort to save the city, Barry built up speed and threw himself at the satellite, trying to destroy it with a single punch. Just before he actually hits it though, time suddenly rewinds, and we see the whole sequence play out again, but this time with Nora adding herself into the mix and helping Barry destroy the satellite. So, okay, I guess in the original timeline, Barry must have sacrificed himself while saving the city, so Nora grows up without her father, then she goes back in time to meet him and Team Flash at their peak, eventually deciding to save him and creating her own Flashpoint-esque timeline as a result. It's not like we haven't seen anything similar in past episodes, so I could totally buy that Barry's more inexperienced daughter would make the same mistakes he did earlier in his career. But the thing is, we know that scenario can't be true for a couple different reasons. For one thing, we have that future newspaper Eobard brought with him that proves that no matter the timeline, so long as Barry's the Flash, he's destined to disappear during a major crisis. I actually talked about this a little bit in one of my more recent videos. I'm gonna put a link on screen for you. You can feel free to check it out whenever you get the chance. On top of that, there's also the fact that executive producer Todd Helbing confirmed with Entertainment Weekly recently that the 4 other times Nora's appeared actually tie into whatever mistakes she made, stating, well, I mean, a lot of it is obviously all about next season. Barry certainly learned his lesson about time travel and the effects it can have. She comes back for a specific reason, not only to see her parents and meet everybody on the team, which you saw all throughout the season. There's 4 specific times she came back, and you're gonna learn about why she chose those 4 times and how they're gonna play into not only the mistake that she made, but the consequences for somebody like her, a speedster traveling from the future to the past, and what all that means for Barry and the team. Plus, you know, you gotta stop and think. What does her saving Barry have to do with looking kinda angrily at Caitlin, or scribbling those weird symbols in her notebook after running into Cisco and Ralph? Seriously, it wouldn't make any sense. So okay, if her mistake isn't related to saving Barry, then what's the problem? Well, based on that quote from Todd Helbing, I think the mistake is still tied to creating a Flashpoint type of timeline, but it's centered more around her messing with the timeline all those other times she ran back into the past. Remember, we've seen her pop up at the first part of the Crisis on Earth X story at Barry and Iris's wedding, at Jitters when Cisco and Ralph go to get coffee after Ralph took down the Trickster, later reappearing at the coffee shop when Caitlin and Harry show up and talk about Killer Frost, at Barry and Iris's loft to give Joe and Cecile a diaper bag, and finally in the season finale at the West House after helping Barry destroy the Starlab satellite. I'm assuming inserting herself into these specific moments is going to have something to do with the return of Killer Frost, since she seemed pretty determined to cut off that conversation Caitlin and Harry were having.
What do you remember?
Killer Frost being worried about me.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to drop that. It just slipped out of my hands.
And I'm also assuming that in her original timeline, Joe and or Cecile might get seriously hurt or die or something, given what all she says to them after dropping off the diaper bag.
It looks like it's a gift from someone who wanted you both to know how special you are. Someone who understands that time is precious and right now is all we've got. Relatively speaking.
But even after all that, I don't think she would have gone to Team Flash for help right away. I mean, come on, it took Barry like 6 months to wrap his mind around the fact that Flashpoint was a bad idea. You think his kid, who just started screwing around with the timeline, is gonna get it any faster? So like a lot of other people mentioned, I'm thinking this version of Nora at the end of the episode is from further in the future than the Nora we've seen up until this point. We get a small hint that this might be the case with her hair. Like, if you've noticed all the other times we've seen the character, she's always had like long hair, but in the finale, her hair is way shorter shorter and in a completely different style, suggesting that she might have tried living in her Flashpoint timeline for a little while before realizing that it's not all that great and decides to get Team Flash to help her fix it. Now, if all that's true, then I'm wondering if maybe these changes are what helped push Cicada towards becoming the season 5 villain, since we haven't really seen any sort of hint about him up until this point. Wait, if Cicada only shows up after Nora makes changes to the timeline, does that make him like the rival or something of this new timeline?
What have you got against my city?
The city's just fine. It's the people in it who need to be educated. And I have no rival!
Shit, I hope not. The less comparisons we can make to season 3, the better. But anyways, guys, that's my take on what all Nora's big mistake is on The Flash. If you guys agreed with anything I said in this video, or if you have your own theories you want to throw out there, then go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, I will see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, then go ahead and click that like button, and if you're new, maybe consider clicking that subscribe button too. I've also got links to my Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Patreon in the description. You should probably check those out too. And if you want to see more of my content, then you can click the link to my last video. It's right there in the middle of your screen. Alright, and I will see you all next time.